for another episode of I'm Moving to North Carolina, Now What? We're bringing you a schools edition because Wake County is a little unique in comparison to the rest of the United States. So Wake County is actually the largest school system in the Southeast. We have over 200 plus schools here in our county. Now, we also have some other smaller school systems that border Wake County. We're not going to get into those today, but we're going to specifically focus on the top 5 questions to ask when you have school-aged children and are matriculating to our county. So number 1 is what calendar you want to be on. I'm originally from Georgia, and typically that traditional calendar where you have the long summers off, a little bit of a winter break, and then typically a spring break in April, that's the predominant calendar back where I'm actually from. But here in Wake County, we actually have multiple calendars. So there is the traditional calendar, like I just mentioned. We also have year-round options, and then even a modified year-round. So to kind of put it into perspective here, this is your year-round calendar. So something that you'll actually notice about the year-round calendar option is there are 4 calendars that all work together within one school. So I'm sure your head's already spinning on what does that even mean. Essentially, the concept behind year-round is being able to fit a larger population in one school building. So only 3 of the 4 calendars are in session at the same time. So every 3 weeks, you do have one calendar tracking out while another is tracking in. So it breaks down to 9 weeks in, 3 weeks off. Now, of course, you do have some other holidays and teacher work days that are worked into that, but your family needs to ask that question. Is this the best calendar for us? Meaning, when do you travel most? When do you want the opportunities for downtime? Do you have track-out camps lined up if your students need to be monitored, especially at that elementary age? The second question is, do you have transportation for the school option? There are some schools that actually require kind of a carpool setup, and that more or less is for your private schools or schools where you're in an application situation, so you're actually having to drive your student to the school. So can you rely on either carpool or the school system's busing system? The third one is, are you looking for public, charter, magnet, or private option? So a big question, of course, when you're talking about private options is whether or not paying for school is something that is a good option for your family, whether it's capability or just want in that regard. We do have a lot of variations as far as private schools and what they charge per year, so it's definitely worth looking into. But when we're talking about public school options, we tend to talk about charter and magnet. So the option of those schools being free options, but application options. Now, what school environment is best for your student? That's another piece of this. I myself have 3 children, so for each of those kids, a different school may be a better option for them based on learning style, as well as the opportunities provided for them and their own personalities. So it's definitely something to gauge when you're picking that first location. The fourth question is, what is your timeline? So we do have a lot of application schools, a lot of opportunities for you to not just go to your base school, but to apply to another school in the county. A lot of those do tend to come with a deadline, meaning you have to be a Wake County resident before you apply for that application school. Now, this is predominantly talking about our public school system. If you're going for the the private school option, those have different application deadlines where residency is not necessarily a key factor. So that's going to vary based on the school that you're looking at. And then the last question is, do you know if your base school is capped? This is a concept that, again, is very unique to Wake County. So your base school means where your address is assigned. What school is that address assigned to? An easy way to look this up is by using the Wake County Public School System address lookup website, where you literally type in that house number and street, and it's going to tell you your elementary, middle, and high school options. Keep in mind, it's always important to look at not only this year's calendar, but also looking ahead to next year's calendar. So when you're looking at the calendar options, you'll also get a list of your application schools. So you're going to register at that base school first and then apply to any of your application schools from there. If the school is capped, This is super, super important. It means you have a cap date. The school is at capacity. So please be careful when you're applying to Wake County Public Schools to make sure that the school's not already at capacity. You could be buying into a particular location that's actually supposed to go to a particular school, but that school no longer can accept students. So you're going to go to what's known as an overflow school. Every CAP school, which is a public list that Wake County does have, has an overflow school assigned to them. So it's always good to look at proximity that you're going to be to the overflow school. So that is Wake County Public Schools as well as Wake County school options in a nutshell. Please look out for future videos and opportunities to learn a little bit more about each of these different factors. I'm Laura Richardson with Relevate. We are Real Estate Elevated.